Hello, campers, or as they say on the Truman Show, good morning, good afternoon, and no, how did it go? Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. It doesn't work if you blow the whole thing, right? Interesting show, that Truman Show from way back when, the movie. Kind of ahead of its time in some respects, and a little scary. But yeah, that's welcome to our live Q&A that we do here a couple times a week, at least in the agency owners and digital marketers using Go High Level group. But now we are in other groups as well. So welcome to all of you. So you'll see us a couple times a week now. I think we've made this kind of official, and sometimes with but we're going to talk about part 2 of our white series on white labeling. And this really kind of gets at the heart of a lot of us as digital marketers, and in many cases, agency owners or freelancers. And so this is what I really wanted to touch on, is doing that and really share some things that are a little bit different. Okay, just a bit of housekeeping there, and we'll talk about some of the other lives that come up. I've kind of put more of the full live schedule, so you're going to be seeing a lot more of us in general, members of the team here, and we'll pull in some other folks from the outside, and it'll be a lot of fun. I think you'll really enjoy it. At least we hope you get a lot out of it. Appreciate so many people signing on and checking this out on Tuesday night. That was fun. That was good that we got the chance to do that with folks. So as I said, we're a couple live here a couple times a week. If you would at least see, I guess with the way this is set up, because we're in 2 Facebook groups and plus now my LinkedIn, if you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, that's StreamYard.com/Facebook, and sign in, give it permission, then I won't see Facebook user. I will actually see the person involved. So would appreciate that. It'd be nice to know some of you folks. And let's see, there's a couple of other items here. There is in the Go High Level group, that's the short name for what the group where this started, but it's also in the Atlas Agency Launch Lab group. There is, if you look in the featured posts, there's a couple of things we want to call your attention to. Okay. Number one is the list of providers in the Go High Level group. We call it the specialist list. There's a different name for it in the Atlas Agency Launch Lab group, but it's the same idea. There, you can put in, as a business, as an entrepreneur, as a freelancer, you can put in your expertise. Say, unless you're going through the marketer in ways we're going to talk about today, to offer your services to them. Otherwise, it is actual business. It's the actual marketers themselves. So what services do you offer? You can put those in there. On the specialist list, we add the ability to have, if there's anybody that would vouch for you for your work and your performance, there's an opportunity there for you to put that in, so somebody could contact them if they're interested in using that. Now, also, if you're interested in, if you have a project coming up, if you have a need, check there first. Check those lists first. Reward these people who took the time to do that, and don't just spam the group. Okay. If they take the time to put that stuff in there, go reward them. At least vet them to see if they're a good fit for your project and what's going on. But give them an opportunity. Show them that it works. This system does work if people will use it. So and we all have different needs and expertises that we need to fill, and we're not all expert marketers all the time who know everything and can do everything. You need help. Okay. And so that's what part of this is about today, but that's also at the heart of what those lists are about. So take advantage of them. Go ahead and use that opportunity. And then also in there, if you decide we don't promote your business enough, there is an opportunity in both groups that you can actually buy access to that. And as well as some other Facebook groups that we have. You can rent time on there. You can come on with us. You can come on with Zach Kennerly and his podcast. You can come on podcast interview type of situation. You can come on with Sheena-Leigh Kennerly or myself and have it be your show. Demonstrate something, demonstrate your expertise. Show us something that we didn't know that we could learn. Those are opportunities for you to get your business front and center amongst a lot of digital marketers. And you never know where we have connections and where we might take you. So you keep that in mind. It's a great chance for you to do that opportunity. So yeah, it'd be fantastic. So either one of those opportunities are here for you. We can help you, grow your business, not just, teaching and learning and that sort of thing. And then finally, if there's any, there are periodic things out there. If there's something that you want us to post about, to have a video about that with subject we would cover, put it in the comments here of the video. So that's it for housekeeping. That kind of gets everybody caught up and at least gets our presence out there. So I appreciate that. I'm kind of missing my way cool intro music. Intro sequence. YouTube didn't like it for a variety of reasons, so we had to kind of take that off for a little while, but we'll bring it back. So my name is John Nelson. For those who don't know, I am owner of my own agency called JKL Works at jklworks.com. Never miss an opportunity to promote yourself, folks. Okay. Also a part of the creative team at Atlas Agency Launch Lab, which is really the reason that I'm here. That we're putting this together is that I came alongside. I was asked to come alongside this group because of some of the things that I do with Go High Level, some of the things that I do with business process. But we are a team, and a team of some really amazing individuals, and only a few of them you've actually seen. So we'll try to get some more on here and share their stories, share their expertises. They're always in these groups all the time, looking for opportunities, just talking to people, chatting back and forth. So it's a great group of people, and we appreciate you. We appreciate all of you being a part of this, jumping into these groups, watching these lives, sharing them with your friends or with your colleagues. We hope you find them. We hope you find them useful. If you want more information, reach out to any of us, and we'll see what we can do to try to help you anytime. So that's my background. That's why I'm here, and so. Atlas Agency Launch Lab, of course, is a very comprehensive 12-week, 90-day program for digital marketing folk who are really ready to up their game. They're ready to perhaps reset their agency. They're ready to grow their agency into something a lot more robust than when they started. But it's a very intensive program. There is homework. It's not watching a video and trying to copy that. It is building it alongside you. So that's what we do as a part of the Atlas Agency Launch Lab. All right. So let's talk about white labeling. So you may recall, if not, you can go down and watch the videos and the video from Tuesday night. We wanted to make this a two-parter about sharing about, white label services, what they are, how they really factor into everything. Because I don't know about you folks, but I'm starting to see more and more that people are out there, and there's kind of a fine line between white labeling and virtual assistant and just a regular old contracting person. So, I mean, there is always that. There is a fine line of what they do, but white labeling kind of does this on a different level. It's not as much hand-holding, it's not much hand-holding involved. It is you become a part of that business with your white label service in this particular case, and it's or you bring somebody in that becomes a part of your business. If you are bringing in a white label service, they are acting as you. They are representing you. So it plays an important role, and more people are starting to figure this out. And actually, it's nothing new. It's been around for over 20 years, if not longer, back to the heyday of business consulting 20 years ago. So it is. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So this last Tuesday, we focused on you bringing in white label services for your business, or your clients bringing in white label service. Now we're going to focus on you offering white label service. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a freelancer, if you're a whatever, perhaps consider this as a strategy. And I'm going to violate my own let you guys share my strategy, and hope not too many people copy it, so I still have business, right? But it's a good strategy. It is something that is needed. It is something that is current and relevant, and I hope it benefits you. Okay, so let's talk about the basics here. What is white labeling? So Sheena-Leigh and I kind of danced around this the other Tuesday night. And to me, white labeling is, sorry, I'm moving my cursor out of the way. White labeling is, it's offering services under the umbrella, or under, disguised as your client or a customer or whatever. Anybody can offer services. There are contract relationships that happen all the time. They're a big part of what digital marketing is. Virtual assistants fall somewhat into that line, but not everybody assumes the role. They're providing their service, but they're acting as their client or their customers. And they're acting on their behalf and actually, running it with their name and with their everything in front of it, or providing the means to do so. Say in Go High Level's case, where you can put your own logoing and your own. I mean, you can take it all the way. You can they'll brand your own app if you have $500 a month for it. So they really plunge into white labeling as a whole, but then that is acting as you. That's taking their service and acting as you. So it's not a clean definition. There's really not a clean definition of white labeling, but it's generally accepted that when you white label something, that all the framework is in place. There is less hand holding. There is less need. There's need for strategy. Okay, but you know what you're bringing in or what you're providing up front, and it requires little maintenance on the client or customer's part that you're white labeling for, other than just to check on it. But you are definitely providing that service, and you're providing it as them. So big difference there. Okay, yeah. So white labeling versus contracting. That's the difference. Is there is actually, you're acting as that person. Whereas if I bring in a contractor for a freelancer for any reason, they're themselves, and I'm bringing in their business, and that's fine. I bring in somebody to build a website for me. Okay, well, they're not acting as me. They're building a website for me, or they're doing ads for me, or they're doing whatever for me. If I'm bringing that in, that's a contracting person. Even a VA in most circumstances is a contracted person. They are there for a set amount of time for a specific amount of money, and but they're acting as themselves, for your company. Versus white labeling takes that a step further. So not only are they providing that for you, but they're doing it under your name. They are assuming the role of being a part of your organization or your client's organization or whoever you white label for. And that's kind of the difference. It's very close circumstances, but white labeling just takes all this a step further, okay, as opposed to anything else. So where does white labeling, happen? Sorry, I'm reading this as I go through. Where does white labeling happen? It happens, it can happen in any number of places. Certainly, we're using it all over marketing. Certainly, Go High Level is white labeling extraordinaire. There are lots of web providers, web design companies that white label for you, and they do a great job. There are video testimonial services out there, Video Ask and Vouch, that do this. There's even a company that I had it on the list because I had a list of you want somebody to do that, they come in as you, and they do the work. SEO resellers, the SEO groups have been doing this for years too, where they come in and act as you, but they're there to provide specific services, whether it's website tech support, SEO, running ads, DashClicks has a lot of that. They run, that's a lot of how they built the platform. They have the Insta sites and the reports and the running ads all as they set their platform up so you're the agency of record and you're the one putting that out there, but it's really them supplying everything behind it. So, but it's not limited to marketing, is it? It's all over the place. There is white labeling in every aspect of business. There really is, and there has been for a long time. For example, big example, one of the pioneers of this, in fact. So now there's a lot of HR services companies out there. In the U.S. there's a lot of them. I don't know about other places, but certainly here in the United States, there are companies that will provide any number of HR, payroll, bookkeeping, accounting, all that services, business services. But one of the first, if not the first, and they did it the best for a long time, still do, is a company that's actually not far from me in Houston, Texas, called Insperity. You may have known them once as Administaff. They decided to change their name because they said because everybody kept thinking they were a staffing agency. I don't know if that's true or not. We didn't. We knew what they were, but they're literally down the road from me, not even like 2 miles. So there is their world headquarters, and they are all over the world. They're in all kinds of other countries, but certainly here in the United States. And they started the whole idea of okay, what their idea is, they have entire teams of human resources people, of experts in their field, or near experts in their field, or at the very least, people that are willing to do very paper, documenting intensive stuff, so you don't have to. And their idea was, because in past businesses, we've been Insperity clients, so I'm not speaking out of school here. Their idea is if they can replace you, or if they can provide an entire HR department for the cost of one HR person, roughly, what it would cost you to hire somebody, but yet then you get this whole team of experts. That's their business model that they're trying to shoot for. They have other variations now, probably. They have, more or less activity. There have been other competitors who try to do, and in some cases succeed. They'll try to do certain aspects of that. And they use software and they use automations, and they're a little less expensive. But the Cadillac, as it were, version is still Insperity. Sorry, other people, but it really is. They do a great job. They know their place. They know their niche. They know their market of people that they're reaching to and their price points, and they're quite good at it. And they've built, literally a huge business on it. I watched that whole complex grow from very small offices to a 7-story office building, with a 2 or 3-story one sitting next to it. I mean, it's very, very intensive, how that works, and it's been over time. So there are multiple places that you're seeing white labeling now. And you know what? You're going to see more of it because it is a model that works. It's a model that takes some setting up in the beginning, and we'll kind of help you with some ideas of that in just a minute. But it's something that their target is small business, and they can do medium business as well. If you can afford an HR department, you don't need them. Likewise for marketers, if you can afford a whole marketing department, you probably don't need what any of us has, unless you are a part of a large marketing department or large marketing agency. That's a whole nother story. But for most of the vast people that are here in marketing, if you can afford to have an actual marketer on staff that can do the things we can do, you don't need us. But that's part of our model, is we're trying to replace that with expertise that you don't have, for a price that you can't replace it for. So if I can do it for less, then that's value. All right, so let's get to the heart of this. White labeling as a service. Okay, so these are some things to keep in mind when you're putting this together. Think about, and you want to offer. So you're a freelancer, you're an agency of any size. If you're looking to offer white label services, these are the things to think about for the next little slides here. Okay. One of them is think about the gaps you can fill. Okay. There are infinite number of services you could offer, as you know, particularly in the marketing space. Everybody can do ads. Everybody can do go high level. Everybody can do WordPress. Everybody can do, websites in general. Everybody can do funnels or SEO, or not everybody can do SEO. That's like an accounting thing. It's like a special, unique talent, I think. But for the most part, there's lots of people who can do these things. So part of providing solutions in business is looking for gaps that are not being filled. Look for gaps that are out there amongst anybody you talk to. Keep your ear to the ground. Do Facebook group research. Do group research in general. Make connections with people. Here's a thought for you. Mass prospectors out there. Actually, make connections with people just to talk to them and grow that relationship. Sheena-Leigh talks about doing, just making a connection with somebody and making it clear you're not going to sell them on anything, but you're just there for information. You want to learn about their industry. You want to learn about their niche. You want to learn about, their type of, as a whole. You're trying to better yourself so you can, you can reach out to people. You do that relationship right, and eventually they will ask you for business. But that's not what you make it absolutely clear. That's not why you're there. And it'll be much more disarming to people, and they'll be willing to provide more information for you. Okay, so you're looking for, but that's a great way. The old sales trick when you go into a town that you haven't been to before is to find that local restaurant or coffee house or whatever, diner, wherever all the cars are parked at. That's what you do. And then you go in there and you sit down and you spend some time and you talk to people. That is the way to find out information. That is the way to find out what gaps are not being filled. And then you ask yourself, okay, do I have any interest in filling those gaps? Can I fill those gaps? Do I really truly have the expertise? Because as we're going to see in a minute, it's not just if you just have a casual knowledge of building a website, and you see that people really need websites out there, and you try to go do this, you're going to fail. Okay. But if you really truly are the expert that you say you are, and you really are that good, and you worked hard to become so, and you really researched it to do SEO or to build websites or to set up entire campaigns, to build ad campaigns, to do business strategy. If you really worked and you've really taken the time to do it right and to sit at the feet of people who really know what they're doing, and you have learned from that and you've had success, and you see there's that gap that needs to be filled, or you can work a way around to do it, maybe offering things in a little bit different way that haven't been done before. I mean, 30 years ago, the concept of outsourced HR, or outsourced anything for that matter, really wasn't here. But these people figured out where the gaps were in small business, and they brought in their expertise, and they've grown it since then. Marketers can do exactly the same thing. So find what's out there, but make sure when you're going to fill that gap that, one, you want to do it, and two, that you're good at it. That you're good enough to stand out, to really truly fill that gap and do what you say you're going to do. Because otherwise you'll be found out very quickly. All right, number 2 thing to think about, that would be, and it kind of goes to, once you figure out the gaps, once you figure out what you're good at, you have to elevate your sales pitch. All of you who are spam marketing, listen up. Okay. I know you're clever at writing, or ChatGPT is clever at writing for you, but if you're going to play in the white label world, that you're really truly doing this, you're going to have to elevate your game. You're going to actually have to be very good at, not necessarily an expert, but certainly very good and able to pivot on the services that you choose to offer as white label. You have to do better. You have to really not just say it, but have ways of showing it as to why somebody would pick you. Because at some point, a lot of people are going to figure out this white labeling stuff really works. It's already happening. And so you're going to get a bunch of people in that space. So you better find a way to stand out in a way that you have not before. If you're going to come in and represent somebody, you're going to have to have to elevate that pitch. You're going to have to elevate that. So really, that means really focusing on the gaps you want to fill. Maybe if you're white labeling that, you pick the things you're going to white label, and you really hyper focus on getting good at them, knowing what the trends are, getting ahead of the trends if you can, offering something that nobody else can find. Maybe there's solutions that you can find that nobody else knows how to do, and you can really learn. You see that a lot now with AI, of course, that these people are, and many of them are what they say they are. Some are not. Some are just jumping on the bandwagon. But there are some people who really do research the daylights out of it and really do know how to do the prompts so everything works properly. Chris McCormick in our group is one of those people, and we will get him on a future live, and he will talk your ear off about AI. But that's because he's really taken the time to do. That wasn't his background, but that's what he has really plunged himself into, to offer it as white label services and that sort of thing. So you really do have to elevate what you're doing and what you're talking about, and be able to find a way in your pitch to market into other people, in a way that not everybody else is. Okay. And if you're really filling that need and you're really stepping up that white label game, you're going to have to elevate that. And it kind of speaks to this point. Okay. You are now representing your client as a white label person, as a white label service, as a white label company, as a white label freelancer. If you're offering white label services, you need to engage in client camouflage. You need to disguise yourself as your client, as the person the company you are providing those white label services for. Okay, because you need to act as them, and you also are representing them likely to their customers in one way or another. If you're doing software as a service, it's a little more distant because you're providing software, but that software has to work, and it has to be supported, and it has to be, deal with, if there's any issues there, that will, very first and foremost, blow back on your client. Never mind, it's you providing the service. And so you have to be responsive and come in representing them as that. And good example of, you see there's a logo at the bottom of the screen for Atlas Agency Connections. Okay, that is a sales service that we're putting together for all aspects of sales. Started with closing. We do sales closing. I do sales closing. Sheena-Leigh does sales closing. Other people we have do sales closing for you. But we've taken it a step further by adding the rest of the sales process. You need some prospecting done. You need some other stuff done. There are other services that will come along with that, but that's at the core of it. But when we go into a session with our client and a customer, they are introducing us as a member of their team. We are there for one reason only, and that is to close that client and to get them on board for our client. Close that customer and get them on board for our client. And so we are representing them in every way possible. So if it's on a Zoom call, that's when you don't want to have the cat, thing that comes up that turns you into a cat, or turns you into something else. You are professional. You are representing them. You are weird backgrounds and all that too. You don't need. It needs to be generic. You need to blend into your client for the areas that you come in contact, particularly with their customers. That is at all customer facing. You are representing them, and you're indirectly representing yourself, because your client knows. I mean, yes, you're acting as them, but they're watching, they're paying attention, and they know what you're doing or not doing. And if you're not holding up your end of the bargain and you're potentially costing them business, you can't calculate how fast they will make a change. So you are representing them. You are a part of what they are, and that is at the heart. And so as a result, white labeling may not be for everybody in that respect. If you don't feel you do that well, and you just rather provide the service to somebody, go be a contractor, go be a freelancer. Great. There's plenty of need for that. I'm not demeaning it at all. There is need of agencies of all types, that they need people to do stuff for them that they don't know how to do. But if you're ready to take this to a white label customer facing for your client's step, then you really have to work hard to and work with them to become a part of their organization in the level that you are. I mean, you're not getting paid by that necessarily, but you are representing them no matter what you do. So that is, and they know that, and they are aware of that. So that there's that. So finally, this and if my wife were here, she would love this segment because she's huge on customer service. So what does that mean when you're representing your client? It means superior customer service. It means acting above and beyond. It means being a problem solver. It means even if the problem is not yours, if you are at all representing your client to customers, that problem is that, and there's something that comes up that it's somehow within your purview to try and solve. You need to be the one solving it. You need to be acting as them. You need to be representing them. And this kind of goes back to elevating your pitch before. Something I really I kind of neglected to mention is we have this I'm going to let everybody who's not a marketer kind of in behind the curtain for a second. And this is going to sound one way, but let me explain. Okay. We sometimes there is a thought that the client that you're pitching to doesn't know what they're doing, that they are in some way stupid in that respect. It's not a direct insult, but it kind of is. It's a prejudice, let's call it. Even though they are our bread and butter, they are our support, because they're paying us. There is still a perception among some people that because they're, needing those services, that they're somehow not smart, that they're not intelligent. I would say very much the opposite. And white labeling takes that to another level. Okay. They're smart in the sense that they know their limits. Unlike some of us, they know their limits. They know what they can do. They know what they can't do. They know what they need help with, and they're not afraid to ask. And so here they are, and they're willing to pay for it. So in some ways, they're probably smarter than all of us. Your average business owner is, because they know what they're not doing well, and they know they need help, and so they're out here trying to sort through the help that's offered. So when you're white labeling, you have to even take that to a higher level, because oftentimes these folks have researched more. They really understand what they need and what they don't need and where that fits into their business. So it's a harder person to prospect, but it's a lot more fulfilling, because if you can really up your game to reach them, then you are, and you do that with all the things you see here by becoming a part of their company to the extent that you are supposed to be, by providing superior customer service to your client and to their customers at all times, and working through problems and providing extra value wherever possible, and doing all the good things that you should be doing as a business, as a service provider anyway. Provide value added wherever you can. They'll keep paying those. If you do that and you go, I mean, yes, there is a high end where you are providing too much and you're getting nothing in return. But if you're providing some value and they're, taking that away from you, and they're getting that out of you, and they perceive it, there are a few who will really take advantage of that, and they'll be bad clients, and then you have the right to cut those people loose, from your standpoint. But most will recognize it and will appreciate it and will find opportunities for you to expand their work with you. Most will do that. Don't get screwed by the few that won't, because there are plenty who will. But that's all a part of elevating your game. It's treating your client with a different level of respect even before you talk to them. It's getting this in your head that this person they're highly intelligent. They're not dumb about this. They just don't want to do it, or they know they're not good at it. But they know an expert like you is good at it, and they're willing to pay something for that, and they're willing to bring that in. And so you then negotiate what's fair, and you make that happen. But this is a higher level. This is a game. White labeling, as opposed to contracting or virtual assistant or anything else, the expectations are very high, and they should be. But the rewards are higher too. So if you're it's how does that go? If you do what others can't, then later you get to, or if you do what others won't, then later you get to do what others can't. So that's certainly a white label, philosophy that kicks in. That's a sales philosophy, but that's certainly a white label philosophy as well. So, all right. So where does this all factor into what we do? And as groups. So I mentioned the Atlas Agency Launch Lab. First and foremost, this is this 12-week, 90-day training program. We get you customers. We build your agency for you, with you right there. You can ask questions. You have homework. You have responsibilities. That it's not just built for you and handed to you at the end. You're every step of the way. You're talking to the people. You're getting at the expertise. But we're building it a little bit unique to you. As every student is a little, and every situation is a little bit different. That's why we only take on 10 a month. So where does white labeling come into that? It doesn't necessarily, in terms of what we teach, with one major exception. So we bring in virtual assistants to do work for you. We bring in some cases, we bring in white label services to do work for you. We bring in Go High Level, which is a white label service, and we dress it up that way, where it becomes yours. Mine in particular is called the Works CRM, but it's white label. It's Go High Level with my logo up in the corner. I didn't go as far as doing the app, but someday maybe I will. If it's that important to have my own brand all over everything, and some would argue that it is. So, but one aspect of it we do teach that's very important of white labeling is that, and that is in the sales process. So we teach you to listen to clients. Whenever we're doing, and we practice this ourselves. When we're sitting in a presentation with a client, or a initial strategy call or discovery session, we do far more listening than we do talking, or we should. Sometimes some of us forget that, but that's the idea, is that you do more listening than talking, because you want them to, you need to get to what their situations are. You need to learn from them. You need to learn from that particular prospect, that you're trying to get to. And then at the end, and only at the end, do you provide the solutions based on what they've told you. Now, in some cases, that can be a white label solution that you're offering them, depending on how facing of their customers you are. But in other cases, it's mostly just, serving in a contract function. I'm going to provide a service for you for a set amount of time. And ours are usually month to month. Actually, we don't necessarily get people into long-term contracts, with the exception of, if you buy a year, we give you a discount. Okay, so that we know you're around for a year. Great, no problem. We reward that. So, but other than that, we need to sing, we need to constantly be vigilant and sing for our supper on a regular basis. And you might think, well, then they're all constantly making you do things and sell. Well, that's not necessarily the case. It just encourages you to provide good customer service and good reaction to your clients. And then whenever you face their customers in a white label capacity, and that's what you will be doing, then you elevate with all the strategies that we've been talking about here. You provide that extra value. You work hard because you're representing them. So that is something we do teach in the Atlas Agency Launch Lab, as just a small part, but a very important one, of the entire services that we go through. And if you want more info on that, you can if you're not already, go hang around the Atlas Agency Launch Lab Facebook group, or go to atlasagencylaunchlab.com. Now, that's the extent of the pitch there, at least for right now. Now, you see this other service, and I talked about it briefly, the Atlas Agency Connections. It's still in process. It's not quite ready for launch yet. but it will be a white label service providing sales support, all aspects of sales, from prospecting all the way through to closing. And there's some other things I think they want to offer as well, but for right now, that's the start of what they're doing. So it will be a great service in that respect, and that's something that I'm a part of, as well as Sheena-Leigh and some other people that we will bring in that aren't in our regular group. But everybody will be there and available to serve your sales function, to replace your sales function, but do so as you. So every meeting that we do, every prospecting that we do, it's under your name as a client. So all this white label stuff we're talking about today definitely applies, okay, to Atlas Agency Connections, and we will make a big, huge deal about it when it's truly ready to go. So don't worry. If you have that need, then keep us in mind, and we'll be there to set everything up for you. Finally, my little company, JKL Works, my little agency. What I have discovered in recent times is I want to be the white labeler for digital marketers. Now, you talk about having to up your game, because if you're pitching digital marketing to digital marketers, imagine the opinions there that are flying back and forth, and the preconceptions. They are there in some cases. They really are. So I have to bring something without a doubt that they're not doing or not handling, even doing what I do, even as digital marketers. There's things that people don't do well. There's things I have to outsource and white label. Okay, I'm doing it now. I'm here to tell you there's things I don't want to do. Ads is chief among them. Can I do it? Yes, I can do ads, but I know people that can, in my group, in my circle, that can do them much better and with much more success. So you best believe I'm bringing them in, but when I bring them in, they are representing me in sales calls, in fact, or presentations and proposals. So you best believe that not only am I aware of that for my clients that I'm bringing in, that I'm doing for them, to their customers, but I am also aware that I am, if I'm bringing somebody in, that's white labeling for me. I am aware of keeping them, of making sure everything's lined up. But beyond that, I mean, it's not as much hand-holding. That's laid out in advance. It's what their role is, and then they will serve their role, and I monitor their role. And that's the extent of it. And we strategize, in some cases, it's people within our group as their regular marketing gigs. So it's very important that we all elevate our game, our sales process, and especially our customer service when we're white labeling like this. Because even though it's a white label, there's still a name involved somewhere. There's still an agency involved somewhere. And that's very, very, very important. So that's where I fall in, as far as that goes. But I provide my services to digital marketers who need. It's very go high level centric. It's very foundational centric. Like there's a video way back about me talking about the foundations. That's a lot of what I provide. But if you want a funnel, there's important ways of doing that, either regular funnels or now video funnels that we'll talk about at some point in the not too distant future. Different tool. I have to stay up to date on tools and tactics. I have to stay up to date on all these sorts of things so that they don't get, sidetracked that way. So everybody knows I'm able to continually update my services as to what's out there, but it's for digital marketers themselves. And so I really have to bring my A game as to what I'm doing. But I'm finding folks that most of the people that I talk to that have been a fit or even close to a fit are their services they just don't want to do. They're like me. They know how to do it. They just don't want to do it. Or they're not as good at it, and they need somebody to come alongside as a partner in this situation, as a white label provider to handle this for them and represent their business and their company. Otherwise, I could do it as myself, if I want, but I'd rather represent them and help elevate them to get to where they want to be. So that's what I do. All right, live Q&A time. Let's see if there's any live Q&A to be had. It does not look like it. So fine, I see how you people are. Okay, fine, no questions. So we have a couple of things that I can put out there in the comments. So we have a running one, and we've had a little participation. We could always use some more from the last time about what white label tools that you use that you would put out there. So let's do this one for the comments today. What white label services do you either need from a white label standpoint, somebody to represent, you and act as you would you need in your agency what white label services do you feel are needed out there that are underrepresented, or what white label services could you provide? Just from a generic standpoint, we don't need pitches in the comments, okay, guys? Just so you know. But what is the basic service that you could provide that you feel is lacking out there that not everybody is represented? And let's just interact with that for a little bit, and let's see what everybody comes up with. These are communities. These are community helps. At least we hope, anyway. So I hope that you can contribute some of this in just a discussion without it becoming a pitch for services. Don't do that. Okay. I know I'm harsh on these folks, but I see good ways of doing this, and I see bad ways of doing this, and I'm encounter them every single day, as do many of you. So we get it. We know you're out there, but maybe interact with some of these other things, and we will find in you doing that a way that you stand out, a way that you're different. So whenever and that you have something that nobody else will offer. You have that outsourced HR 20 years ahead of its time that nobody else offers. Okay. So let's, if you would, jump into the comments and let's talk about some of these white label services, either things that you feel are needed that are not out there very much, that really businesses need, or services you could provide that stand out that way, and what makes them different. Why are they different from everybody else? Not that just you provide them, but what makes yours special as a white label service. Okay, so that's it. Let's talk about upcoming lives. There are more. You'll start to see more of these in more groups. So we're in 2 Facebook groups today. There is also and probably more via delay. We'll post the videos in some of the other groups that we have going on as time progresses. And there's always the Atlas Agency Launch Lab YouTube channel is out there with all of the lives and all the stuff that we've done over multiple groups. And there's a lot of cool information in there. So it's really worth your time checking it out to go do that and just let that roll for a while. And hopefully it provides you some really good value that you haven't necessarily gotten other places. And then so we have Zach Kinnerly with his podcast style videos. Those are starting to be out there more and more. He's interviewing marketing agency owners and people that are in the space that are really making a difference. So he's got some really cool ones, and I know he has some other people lined up to do some of that as well. So and that is certainly something that you could be a part of if you want to do that and get exposure for your agency. He's a good interviewer. He's not going to pounce on you like news people do. He's a good guy. He even ask you the question, okay, what question did I not ask you that you wish I would have? What do you do with that? But he's on Friday evenings and Tuesday, and then again on Tuesday afternoons most of the time. So you'll see him in various groups. As well, Sheena-Leigh is in the digital marketing agency owners group for a time on Thursday evenings. I go join her sometimes. Other people join her sometimes in our team and from other places. So that's always really cool to go check that out. And that's a great group. If you're going to go white label, go be a part of those folks, but really find your place to stand out. Really do that. Don't just, I offer web design services. Okay, so does everybody else here. All 90,000 of them. So really find a way where you stand out and make that difference and start prospecting that way if you're going to white label. Okay. but that's Thursday nights. It's some other times during the week she'll do things. And now you're starting to see in other groups besides the Atlas Agency Launch Lab, she's on Sunday nights with usually some very, very good insights. Had a great one this last Sunday about aspects of your agency that are more top level. This is more from an agency owner's standpoint. We've talked about sales and other things, but then she's brought on members of our team to talk about, getting through roadblocks and, brain spotting. And she and I have done some other stuff too. So that's a great time, a little more relaxed on Sundays, but very informative that she's a part. And then, of course, we're back here on Tuesday nights for our regular time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 Central, 4:30 Pacific, and like 10:30 a.m. or 11:30, something like that, Sydney time. So there's a lot of that going on. We're out there and we're available, and there's a lot of good information, or at least we hope it's good information for you that we have for you. So really enjoyed it. Thanks for checking everything out. If you have comments, leave them down there about where you would use white labeling or what's missing from white labeling that either you could provide or just what's missing in general. And thanks for watching, everybody. And please share this all with your friends. We really appreciate it and hope they benefit from everything. And as always, if you have topics that you want us to cover, put those in the comments as well. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will talk to you very, very soon. Take care.